She gave up her voice for love and lost herself. She traded her voice, but what she heard changed everything. All right, before we begin, I want you to slow down just for a moment, relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and take a deep breath in, hold it, and let it out slowly. Good. Now get comfortable. Maybe dim the lights a little, sit back, or lie down. And for the next few minutes, I want you to leave everything behind. Your stress, your worries, that one thought that just won't leave you alone. Let it all fade, because tonight I'm taking you somewhere else, somewhere quieter. Step gently into my world, a world beneath the waves where silence speaks and every heartbeat echoes through the ocean. Far below the surface of the sea, where sunlight fades into soft blue shadows and the water hums with quiet life, there lived a young mermaid named Serelune, who was not the most admired in her kingdom, nor the most graceful swimmer, but she possessed something rare, something almost magical, a voice unlike any other, a voice that could calm storms, soothe pain, and bring peace to even the most restless souls, a voice that elders believed was gifted by the ocean itself. Yet like many who are blessed with something extraordinary, she never truly understood its worth and often sang only to the empty currents, never realizing that the very thing she took for granted was the essence of who she was. Serelune would drift toward the surface at night, watching the human world from afar, fascinated by the flickering lights, the laughter carried by the wind, and the messy, imperfect beauty of human life. And among all those fleeting moments, there was one person who slowly became the center of her attention, a young man named Kale. Not a prince, not a hero, just real, someone who laughed loudly, stumbled often, failed and tried again, and carried dreams bigger than the world he lived in. And somehow, Serelune found herself drawn to him, watching him through storms and sunshine, through moments of joy and quiet loneliness, until curiosity turned into something deeper, something dangerous, and without realizing it, she had fallen completely and irreversibly in love. In the deepest part of the ocean, where even light dares not reach, lived a mysterious being known as the Echo Weaver, not quite a villain, but far from kind, a keeper of trades not of gold, but of things far more precious, a being who understood the weight of desires and the consequences of them, and Serelune sought her out with trembling hope and a heart full of longing, and asked to become human. And the Echo Weaver smiled slowly, almost knowingly, and told her she could walk among them, but every step would feel like shattered glass, and every breath would remind her she did not belong, and in return her voice would be taken, not hidden, but completely erased from existence. And though something deep inside her warned her not to give it away, something ancient and instinctive that tried to hold her back, love drowned that voice, and she agreed without fully understanding the cost. The transformation was not gentle or magical, but painful and raw as her tail split into legs. Her breath burned like fire in her lungs, and her voice vanished completely, leaving behind a silence that felt heavier than the ocean itself. And when she reached the shore, she was no longer a mermaid, but human and silent, fragile in a world she once admired from afar. Kyle found her the next morning, weak and unable to speak, yet alive, and he helped her, cared for her, and gave her a place in his world without asking questions she could not answer, and for a while it felt like everything she had dreamed of was finally within reach as she stayed by his side, smiling when he smiled and listening as he shared his thoughts, his struggles, his fears, and his dreams. And in those quiet moments, she believed that love did not need words, that presence alone could be enough. But slowly, something began to change because love is not just about being there. It is about being seen, being understood, being heard. And Serelune could not be heard. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, as the silence she once accepted grew heavier, wrapping around her like invisible chains, isolating her even in his presence, as she longed to speak, to laugh out loud, to disagree, to express the storms inside her heart. But all she could offer was quiet understanding and gentle smiles. And though Kyle cared for her, there was a distance forming, a space that words could have filled, but silence could not. Until one evening, everything broke when Kyle sat beside her, staring at the horizon with a softness in his eyes that did not belong to her, and he told her there was someone he wanted to marry, like a wave retreating from the shore for the last time, because she realized a truth that cut deeper than any pain she had endured. Love cannot survive in silence alone, and sacrifice without identity becomes loss. That night, the Echo Weaver returned, her presence calm yet heavy with meaning, and offered Serelune a choice to return to the sea and reclaim her voice, or stay in the human world and slowly fade into nothingness. Not in a dramatic end, but in a quiet disappearance where even memories of her would dissolve. And Serelune stood at the edge of the ocean as the waves called her back, whispering to the parts of her she had tried to forget. And for the first time, she saw everything clearly. She had not lost because she wasn't loved, but because she had abandoned herself. She had traded her essence for a dream that was never truly hers. And so she stepped into the water, not in defeat, but in awakening, not with regret, but with understanding. And as the ocean embraced her, her voice returned, not as it once was, but deeper, stronger, filled with the weight of her journey and the truth she had discovered. And when she sang again, it was not just a melody, but a story, a warning, a reminder carried across the waves between two worlds that your voice, your truth, your identity should never be the price you pay for love. And now, as you return slowly to your world, let me leave you with one quiet thought. How many times have you stayed silent just to be accepted? How many times have you given away pieces of yourself hoping it would make someone stay? And if you listen closely, maybe deep within you, there is still a voice waiting to be heard. Maybe it's time to take it back.